So, dude, for this car talk, I was thinking about. Well, I was watching something on TV the other night.
Yeah.
And it's actually Gone in 60 Seconds came on to ITV4 yesterday. So I was thinking, what are your favourite film cars?
Oh, Christ, there's so many to choose from.
Well, yeah, that was one thing, because I was going to say, actually, because there's so many, because I sat there last night trying to think about it, and I trying to narrow it down to one was an impossible task for me, like say being car thing. So what would be your top 5? I reckon would be a good way to go. I reckon would be that's what I was thinking. Top 5 favourite films. I mean, you think about the mammoth amount of films there are. I mean, you got the Fast Saga. I mean, there's 9 of them now. I think it's 9 in there. And then you got the Gone in 60 Seconds, but you got the 1971 or 2 one, and then you've got the new one with Nick Cage in it. Like people didn't realise it was an earlier one. Then you got like Need for Speed. You got there's a couple of films as well. I can't remember exactly what they're called. I don't know if one of them was called Jacob's Ladder or something like that. But there was a couple of other ones. There's an old one with Dolph Lundgren in, which has got like Ferraris and Lambos in it. Yeah. And like you go back to the old Bullet film as well, and things like that. Christine is another one, and
the Cannonball Run films.
Oh, of course, yeah, that was it. Smokey and the Bandit. You got all these modern, all the classic films. So like, I'm trying to sit down and think of my favourite one. I couldn't narrow it down to one, because, like I said, I think of one and I think, oh, but what about this one? And I think of another and I think about, oh, what about that one? Yeah, that's why I reckon our top 5 would be a good way to go with this one.
Oh, definitely.
Should we take it in turns? Like, I'll choose one, then you choose one, and then
I think it's going to be easier, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because Gone in 60 Seconds was on last night, I would say that my, obviously Eleanor from that film, the hero car, in the newer one, not the older one. The older one, I don't know if a lot of people don't know this film, but the older one had a yellow Mach 1 Mustang in it wasn't a 67 or 69 like Eleanor was in the newer one. It was like a 71 or 72. Still a really nice Mustang, really cool one, but the newer one with the 69 fastback Shelby, that was something else. That car was.
Oh, it's a beautiful car, that.
Yeah. And I think we're allowed to agree on cars as well. That's
oh yeah.
If you don't include that same one in yours, that's absolutely fine, because again, like I said, there's so many nice ones.
I was thinking off the top of my head from mine was one from the Fast and Furious franchise, and that's the Mark 1 Ford Escort that they've got. Oh, wicked! The one that Paul Walker's driving in. Is it number 6 that one's in, or number 7? It's one of the 2, isn't it? Yeah, it's one of the later ones.
That one was wicked. That's the one with the first Shaw in it, isn't it? Not Jason Statham, but his brother, wasn't it?
Because it was just such a random one for them to include, because all the cars they've usually got like either the JDM cars or they've got the American muscle cars, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere they just
Mark 1 Escort. Yeah, I was going to say that was quite cool, definitely from a British standpoint, because again, I don't think there was a lot of people in America or anywhere else in the world that knew that car as well as we did, because it was a British car, and it was one that was massive in the 70s when it came out. And I think if you speak to anybody about cars, they've either had one, or they know someone who's had one, or their like grandparents or parents have had them. They've had a Mark 1 or Mark 2 Escort at some point in their lives, haven't they? I mean, I got taken to school in one, in a Mark 2.
Oh, my uncle used to make and race his own Escorts and bits and pieces, so... Yeah,
but Czar's dad, he had a Mark 1 Mexico with a 1640 works engine in it.
Nice.
Beautiful car. I dread to think what it'd be worth now. But it was, a lovely car. I would go... My second car, film car, I'm sticking with the Ford sort of thing here, but going for a newer one. And again, it's Shelby again, so I don't know who class that as Ford or Shelby, but that would be Beauty from the Need for Speed film, that Mustang, and that car is lovely. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's loads of beautiful cars, there's hypercars, supercars, there is a Bugatti Veyron in there, there's the Lambo, I've forgotten what it's called, it's not the Aventador, it's the Lambo at the end of that one. There's only a couple of them made worth over $1 million and that, but that Mustang, I don't know why, I think because they spend so much time in that film, that car, that's almost like a character of the film. That car is beautiful. And but it was a very close toss-up between that and his Gran Torino that he's got at the beginning, the blue one he's got, that classic, that is absolutely perfect. So it was a very close call with that, but for that one, it was for that Mustang out of the Need for Speed film for me.
Well, I'm going to go for something away from Ford for this one. Paul Walker's R34 GTR.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
That was another one of mine actually as well. That was another one, and I agree with you on that one.
And that was purely because I saw an R34 GTR in the flesh the other day, and it just immediately took me back to that film.
I have to, yeah, it does for me as well. And that was to be honest, that was the first Skyline I really fell in love with. I mean, there's been a few others in other films and stuff, but that one I really did fall in love with, and that was on my list as well, I have to admit. So
I've always been a fan of the R33, but after seeing an R34 in the flesh, I was just like, there is just something about that car.
Yeah, for me, it's always been the R34 or the R32. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the GTR is a beautiful car, the R35. But I don't know, it kind of like they stood away. For me, that car with the R35 is a beautiful car, but they kind of started making it look a bit more like a supercar. Whereas the older Skylines, to me, they still look like a saloon car, like almost like a family car.
They were a saloon car with better alloys, a spoiler, and a bit of body kit. Yeah,
and massive power for the time. And that's the thing. They were the older Skylines to me were like the working class hero. Yeah. They were the supercar slayer, but in a car that looked like you could take your kids to school in or do shopping in and out. They were just awesome.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, that was one of the ones on mine actually, was that R34. But I'll jump to the next one for me. I said staying in the JDM style of it. For me was the AE86 Toyota Corolla out of Tokyo, not Tokyo Drift, out of Initial D, the Drift-In film.
The Tofu
Man's car, yeah. It's not even done up that much in the film, is it? It's got a Tofu Man sticker on the side, yeah, and it's got nice wheels on it, and it's stupidly quick, and he's brilliant at drifting. And that car, I mean, I always liked the AE86 Corolla anyway. That was a car I always loved, but that one in that film, that really did it for me. I don't know why. And I used to prefer the Levin version without the pop-up lights originally. But the one in that film, because it's the just the Corolla, it's the Torino, is it, instead of 11?
The Trueno, yeah.
Yeah, that one with the pop-up lights in that film is just awesome. So,
well, the thing is, I don't think a lot of people realise, but they were the first cars that people were drifting over in Japan, was the Corollas.
Yeah.
Because when you see like the original Japanese drifters, they all had Corollas. It wasn't like they were going, oh yeah, this is a Skyline or whatever else. So for them to use that in that film, it's just like, well, that is kind of like the origin for it, really.
Yeah, tipping the hat to it. A bit like they had the Drift King, the real Drift King in Tokyo Drift, didn't they? The guy who's a fisherman who sat on the docks. He says, my grandmother can drift better than that. And then he says, I'm not bad when he's drifting again. That was actually the real DK in real life, wasn't it? He was a drift champion, which is really cool.
But then that was another car that we used to see driving around when we were kids. And we never thought anything of it at all.
No, that's it. That was one of them ones, a bit like the Z cars, wasn't it? I found they were. I remember there being a 240 or 280, either 240 or 260 Z that used to park at the road for my old man's, and it was in a really old, like turd brown colour. But if I'd known what it was back then, I remember seeing it and thinking, oh, that's quite cool looking. And don't get me wrong, it stood out. It still stands out in my mind because I remember we used to walk up and down that road a lot, and there was that one. And there was like a High Ace or something like that. It was always parked there, an old one of them. And I always remember they were the only two cars I remember out that whole street. There was probably like old Escorts and Cortinas and things like that in that street that I've just forgotten about because they blended in. There were so many of them, but they were two that you didn't see all the time that used to be up there. That and a Sharknose 5 Series used to be parked on someone's drive, black one. But it's sorry, what was your next?
Well, funny enough, my next pick isn't a car that. It wasn't the highlight of the film. It wasn't like the hero car. It wasn't like one of the main vehicles it was used kind of thing. It was just an incidental car that they happened to use in one scene. And that's Thunderbolt, the Jackie Chan film.
Yes, another really good underrated car film.
And the reporter who's trying to get the story on what's going on, she has a Mitsubishi FTO. And to chase after the guy in the R32, he has to borrow her car to do it.
I remember that. Yeah, that's another. It's a great underrated car film. If you're looking for a car film to look up Thunderbolt with Jackie Chan in. That's a brilliant film.
Not only is it a great car film, but it's a fantastic action film as well.
Yeah, and it's got good kung fu and everything because it's Jackie Chan, and that's the only car film I've ever seen with a Vauxhall Cavalier in it. There's actually a Vauxhall Cavalier that appears in it briefly at the end a couple of times. And
the whale tails at one point, and I think the next time it rolls over on its side, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah. That's the only film I remember because, like I say, I was always the cav man. It was always one of the things. And because it is quite hard. There were so many good films because I didn't want to go through another Fast and Furious one, because I actually forgot about the R34 a little bit, but there was another one. I forgot about Thunderbolt as well, because I love his 3000 GTO Mitsubishi in that. Lots of cool JDM cars in that film.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it was made, was it late 90s, early 2000s? So there's a lot of classic JDM stuff in there. You're not going to see like the new Supra or anything like that in there, but there's lots of cool, like there's old Supras and a lot of like, there's like old Evos and things like that. A lot of cars.
RX-7s and...
Yeah, cars at the time you didn't see in many films that are only just starting to become really big in like the last 10 years, really. But yeah, one of the other ones, going more to my muscle roots with the Mopar stuff, is one, again, it's another one that only takes a real background role, and it's only at the beginning of the film, is in Tokyo Drift, and that is Sean's Monte Carlo.
Yes.
The one he races the Dodge Viper in, because that car, I don't know why, but that is, over the years, that has become my favourite car out of that film.
Really?
Yeah, that one, that Monte Carlo, is just, it's got something about it. It looks big, it looks beefy, it looks like a big, mean looking muscle car.
Yeah.
And I mean, for years it was Hans RX-7 for me, but after being in the trade, I don't like rotary engines, so that's
fair enough.
One of them with a V8 in it would do me. But as I also, when I first seen it, the S15, the Mona Lisa car, that Sean wrecks in the first drifting scene, that was always my favourite car in there, because I love the S15 Silvias. They're absolutely beautiful cars.
The S14 was a good looking car as well.
That one was lovely, and that was one of my favourite. That was one of my favourite cars at the time, up until they brought out the 15. Then when they brought that out, that just blew the 14 out of the water for me. I was like, oh my god, look at that!
It was a definite step up, wasn't it? Yeah.
The only thing is, I'd love to have one in real life, but the only problem is they're just massively out of most normal people's price ranges, really. So let me just adjust the lighting. But yeah, no, that Monte Carlo was the one for me. Because like I say, again, it was playing a very small role, but it's just one of those cars. It was like half finished project. It looked really cool, and it beat a Dodge Viper in a race. It was a quick. I love that thing.
Well, funny enough, I'm going to flip that. I'm going to go for the Dodge Viper that you raced against.
Really?
Yeah. Always been a massive fan of the Dodge Vipers, and I remember I used to have a Burago 1/18th scale Viper when I was a kid, and we've actually seen one in the flesh when we went down to Cornwall that time, didn't we?
That's right, yeah. And that thing just looked, I mean, I know you see it in pictures, but that thing in the flesh was so wide and so low, wasn't it? It was
and the sound of it was biblical as well.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of those cars that I remember, because there was always, everybody talked about them because they're going, oh, that's a car with a truck engine in it. It's got it's got an 8-litre V10 in it, and everybody's going, oh, this is obscene, this is crazy, everything like that. I just thought, oh, if I could get me one of those, I bet that would be wicked fun to have.
I actually have to admit, I had a Burago model as well, the white one with the blue Viper stripes on it, the hardtop, because I didn't like the convertible, but I liked the hardtop version. That was a brilliant looking car.
But I remember you used, at the time, it was in all the video games as well, like Gran Turismo and bits and pieces like that, and it was always the hardest car to control, and I just thought, oh, I wonder if it's like that in real life.
Yeah, I imagine it probably is. But it's yeah, because I mean, I suppose that's R5 really. But I mean, I could go on all day. There's so many others. Because I mean, funny enough, I was thinking, because there was the Mark 1 Viper, which is the one I preferred more, like the ACR sort of shape. In the Nutty Professor, the one he,
of course, the
one he rents out and then balloons up inside and gets jammed in and ends up wrecking the car. There was that one. I mean, like I said, there was the Cavalier. When you said Thunderbolt, I completely forgot about Thunderbolt, but I would have probably said the Cavalier from that if I'd have thought about it. And then like I said, there was Initial D. I mean, there's a few other car films which are quite good, like the taxi films and everything.
Oh yeah, with the 406.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that 406, but in real life I wouldn't want one, so that isn't my favourite car.
No, if you could, if you could have that version of it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, and then there was Born to Race, which had
had an Impreza, didn't it?
That had an Impreza, and the guy, but I preferred the bad guy's Mustang in that black mean looking Mustang. That was cool as hell. But actually, I tell a lie, it was a toss up between the two. And then there was another one called Fast Track No Limits as well.
Yeah.
That one had like a couple of cool ones. Like I had a classic MR2, classic Supra, and a few other nice hero cars in it as well, and race cars. 'Cause that was about street racing, underground street racing. Like I said, there's a Fast and Furious saga. You could have an endless list. And the same with the Need for Speed one. Like, say, you've got the Koenigsegg's, the Bugattis, the McLarens.
Well, I was thinking like the Italian job just for the classic Mini and things like that
as well. And an E-Type in it.
Yeah. It's, when you look into it, doesn't even have to be a film about cars, but there's always a car in it somewhere.
Yeah, well, to be honest, the R34, when you said about it from Too Fast Too Furious, that actually replaced one on my list, and the one it replaced was Bandit's Trans Am. I was smoking the Bandit 1 and 2, not the third one, because that was a newer 80s one that I wasn't as keen on. But yeah, that was that one, and yeah, like, sorry Bandit, kind of got kicked out for that R34. So, but yeah, that was my. But yeah, like I say, I mean, like I say, we'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. What is your favourite movie car? Let us know in the comments below, and let us know if we've missed out any movies we spoke about. I mean, I've got a massive collection myself in the house. I mean, there's probably other ones I've forgotten about, but it's.
Well, I'd love to hear about any that we haven't seen before. Yeah,
as well. Yeah, if there's any new car films or underground car films that we've not heard about or mentioned in this, let us know. We'd love to know about it, because I mean, I think that if we haven't already done it, that's one that we were going to do as well, wasn't it? It was another car talk, is our favourite car movies. And again, we probably end up, there's so many to choose from, we probably will end up doing a top 5 or a top 10 between the two of us, I imagine. So stay tuned for that, and check our channel, because it may already be live by the time you're watching this one. Let us know what you think about this one with a like and a subscribe, and yeah, and get involved, guys. And we have got, if you want to discuss things like this, we've actually got a Facebook group, so just search Wolf Kiff Workshop. Join up, come and join in the chat. We're always looking for people to come and challenge us and ask us questions and everything as well. So, but yeah, thanks guys. See you in the next one.
Cheers, guys.